Building on Ethereum can be challenging. High transaction fees, slow transaction speeds, limited functionality, and difficult and expensive to build on. Metis solves these problems. Ethereum transactions made on Metis cost just a couple of cents. They'll be processed in a fraction of a second. Metis offers rich, out-of-the-box functionality with one click. Store as much data as you'd like. We take care of the security. With Metis, building and deploying Ethereum dApps is so easy. Already have your smart contracts? We provide complete EVM compatibility and one-click deployment. And yes, we'll integrate your existing platform without you needing to change any code. Metis Layer 2 supports DeFi, NFTs, gig economy, social economy, crowdfunding, and much more. Our goal is to create easy-to-use tools, making blockchain accessible to everyone and empowering personal and professional lives. But wait, there's more. Metis is completely decentralized. Once your dApp is up, no one can take it down. Metis Layer 2 is secured by the underlying Ethereum blockchain, eliminating the risks caused by sidechain solutions, especially for DeFi projects. Metis lets you create and manage your own DAO in just 2 clicks. We call it DAC, Decentralized Autonomous Company. Our community mining mechanism can even generate additional funding for your project. Beat that, centralized sidechains! Now, we've introduced the Metis Ecosystem Development Program. We're offering established blockchain companies, blockchain startups, and even companies new to blockchain the chance to scale in 3 ways: tech and development resources, marketing and branding muscle, funding for your company, including grants, mining Metis tokens, and potential investment. Want to grow your company? Go to metis.io/EDP. Fill out the form and join the Metis ecosystem today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Metis live stream. My name is Elena Sinelnikova. I am CEO of Metis, and we usually run in live stream on Tuesdays. So today's live stream is going to be a hackathon updates. We also have a very exciting speaker, Angela from the Hackathons International, who's going to be talking about how to form the team. So you asked us a lot of questions in the Discord. How do I find team member? How do I form the team? So we invited Angela to talk about that. But first thing first, I would like to introduce our Chief Administrative Officer, Leah Glansling, who is keeping us, accountable, in charge, compliant to all the rules and regulations, and actually being an excellent team, an excellent worker, keeping the standards, up to the standards, all our work that we do. So she's here to present, and she will be our host today. So welcome, Leah.
Hello, welcome. Leah Glansling here. I will share my screen now. So today I want to introduce a little information for those that are joining us for the first time. So we are Metis, and what is it that we are? We are Layer 2 optimistic roll-up. Sorry, I jumped into half of the presentation. And of course, today's main conversation will be around our Metis Worldwide Hackathon that we are very glad to announce. And we are happy to begin this journey with all of you. Our host will be joining us to explain her experiences and to give us the best practices for those teams that are thinking about participating, and also for those that have already registered and want to know more about how to make the best of this experience of joining the hackathon and getting to deploy into our Metis platform. So after after we have our tips and shared experience with Angela Tan, I will give you some community updates of how much we have had advances and registrations in this first week that we have been running the actual registration process for the hackathon. We will go over the schedule, rules, and prices again. And we will discuss any questions you might have on how to build or migrate your Ethereum dApp into Metis. The prices, of course, we have been very proud to announce this. We have a pool of $1 million deliverable in Metis tokens, as well as a lot of sponsored prizes, which have each to do with the very specific purposes of the features of these sponsors. So if you want to apply for one of the sponsors' prizes, you have to understand what is it exactly that they do in order to create a dApp that will integrate with what are their principal or main features. And as I said, we are waiting for Angela to join us. In the meantime, I can share with you our Discord and our Telegram IDs, so you can join and make sure that you are ready to make questions and get connected with us. In our Hackathon Discord, we have our community manager, David, who has been great with helping the teams join and creating the accounts for them to interact both with our technical support team and with the other teams that might want to share experiences with them. In general, Metis communications are handled via Telegram, and you can always come to our main website, metis.io, where you can find all the information and updates we keep updating and integrating every day. Hackathon communications have their very specific ways to contact, so make sure you scan these codes so you can easily get in contact with us. And from the technical aspect, you need to be aware that submissions will be handled all through DevPost. So this is the code that you should scan and keep for making your submissions. Submissions will be accepted through the whole period of 2 months that we have the hackathon going on. So just keep that in mind, and we will be sharing this with you every week. So keep in contact. This is the list of our current countries for submissions. We are very happy that we are already counting the participants by the hundreds, and we have had a lot of acceptance in many countries, as you can see. Please note, we have received questions about the language. The language of main communications will always be English, but as you can see, we have a very big community going on with this group of participants. So for those joining us for the first time, or who want to familiarize more with what is it that we are working on, our mission is to accelerate transition to blockchain, through blockchain to the Web3 for an open, fair, and decentralized world of business that allows inclusion and opportunities for everybody. And with this, our vision is to create this easy to use technical and organizational platform that will ease the onboarding on the Web3 for all communities in general. Oops, so my mouse is not helping. And why did we create this platform and onboarded in this journey? Because we wanted to create a solution for these challenges our own team was facing originally when they came together to try to create DAOs and start their own businesses on the Web3. As you know, we are an Ethereum-based solution, and the Ethereum transactions are expensive. So that was one of the issues we wanted to address, as well as the speed of transactions. And we are solving that also with our optimistic rollup solution. Storage is not normally offered in blockchain solutions because it would be very expensive. So our fantastic tech team has created solutions that will allow us to offer also secure and efficient storage of your files within the platform that Metis provide. And as the ultimate benefit for helping everybody get into this Web3 world, we are offering easy to deploy solutions that do not require that much experience with smart contracts. So this is what we are taking care of, and how we are solving it is with these answers. So about the high fees, we are addressing it with our optimistic rollups, and it will be just a few cents for transaction, because we bundle a big group of transactions and submit those all together. So the prices are, the expenses in gas fees are shared among all those transactions. Also, the speed is increased to a few seconds with our solution. And as I was advancing, we will offer secure chip and permission storage for your files. So what is it that we are offering in summary? We are offering an easy to use, decentralized, and when we say decentralized, we mean it, because we have taken all the extremes to ensure that our platform operates in a very decentralized way, and with the whole resilience that is expected from an Ethereum blockchain solution. Functionality, because we will offer a lot of features that will make your transactions easy to control and to organize and process. As I said, low fees, and scalability and security, because by design, we take care of the services and transactions on demand, and we create more processors as we go and as we deem that necessary. So with this an optimistic rollup in this layer 2 solution, it means, as I said, that we take a lot of transactions that are compressed in one submission, and it goes to layer 1 as a whole, and that allows for the lower gas fees and speed transactions and more technical details that I'm sure our tech team can address if you have very specific questions. And why is it called optimistic rollup? Because it assumes that all transactions are correct and are submitted for validation. Validation means that if one of our validators finds that there's a transaction that is not correct, there will be a fine for the one that submitted it, and it will not be accepted. And that's why it's called optimistic, because we are counting on the economical incentives for all the process to happen in a correct way without the need for validators to find out that transactions were not correct. So what is it that we have now? We have this layer 2 solution. We are offering you a no-code or low-code alternative for starting your business in the Web3 world with an easy and friendly interface to work with. We are creating all the infrastructure that will allow you to create and operate your DAO structure with ease and certainty that everything is taken care of. And for those projects that are starting to build with us, if you get into the EDP program, which is our ecosystem development program, you will get access to Metis tokens to get you started, to appropriate funding depending on your project, and introduction with our investors and community of users. So as you can see, this is a very good way to get started into the Web3 world, because we are making it very easy and friendly for everybody to onboard. DAOs are the main protagonist of this Web3 world that we are envisioning for businesses. So when you use our platform, you will be able to create your DAO, and within your DAO, you will be able to create roles for your users. So when you allow people to be part of your DAO, you will be able to have some restrictions in terms of access and transactions that these people can do or can see, and that will allow you to manage the information in a very efficient way in terms of things that require some level of confidentiality. Permissions also for the files that you will be able to share. You will be able to manage all your human resources and services requirements, because we have been detailing which are the main requirements for hiring, paying, and overseeing that the services are contracted, rendered, and paid. We have a solution for task management, so you will be able to see the workflow and control what's going on in a dashboard kind of view. As I said, you will be able to control payments and your budget and how much transactions or your DAO operations are coming in terms of prices and budget. And we will provide communication among these members of the DAO together with private chat rooms and solutions that will work supported by the blockchain, which is resilient to accidents, so we won't be facing anything as what recently happened to many of the traditional ways of communicate for teams overseas. And use cases. Use cases are very interesting aspect of our proposal, because in terms of the hackathon, whether you choose one or the other of these use cases, you will be able to apply for the corresponding track, and also to find out if any of the sponsor prizes is available for the use case that you are choosing. These are the main ones that we have been receiving requests to apply for. But of course, in the world of businesses, there are all sorts of new needs and services that you can provide within this blockchain world. So these are just examples. If you have a different idea in mind, feel free to submit it. And in case of doubt, just check with us and we will be able to give you some guidance about where to apply for. So now about our very particular offerings that make our solution unique. Security is a big feature, and we offer this security, first of all, supported by all the security structure that Ethereum itself provides. And then we have multiple sequencers and rangers that are financially incentivized to audit the transactions. So as you can see, we are taking several measures that all combined give an overall certainty that transactions are being performed in a very secure environment. Scalability, because we use, as I said, multiple sequencers and multiple virtual machines that are enabled as required by the transactions demands. So when we are not having that much traffic, we are not spending that much efforts, and as required, we are able to very fast implement new sequencers and to increase the capacity of transactions. So that's why we say that we are scalable to demand. And in terms of usability, our solution is 100% compatible with the Ethereum virtual machine. And we are giving you all the solutions for managing your access permissions, the decentralized storage with IPFS integration. We have a reputation tracking system integrated into all of our processes. And this is very important because this is what will allow us in the near future to create this trust among people that does not know each other, has never worked with any of the parties that are showing up in our ecosystem, but the reputation tracking system will make it easier for you to know if a person or an entity is worth your trust for starting to work with them. Then about the middleware, we have Polis, which is our easy deployment, management, and viewing interface. We will soon have the smart contract templates, which will allow you to create your product or your service in just a few clicks. And we are providing microservices integration, which we are updating and enhancing every month. So what do we offer that other rollups are not yet able to propose? It is better validation time. As you can see, we are comparing in this chart with the other main two rollup services that are available. We have a permission layer, which the other two are not offering, and we are proposing you to have your files stored with our interface or solution, which are not offered for by any of the other participants. So then again, we are going back to the hackathon, and what are we proposing to you to be part of this? And it is very easy to participate. You just need to either build a new dApp in our Metis layer 2 platform, or import an existing Ethereum dApp that you have that is EVM compatible and have it run on our platform. So it is as simple as that. If you are into this business, you can participate in our hackathon very easily. So the tracks that we have defined are DeFi, of course. There's a lot of demand for DeFi solutions, and depending of the nature of the economy of each of the countries where participants are making submissions from, we have seen very interesting solutions that address areas that previously were not attended by these technical solutions. So I think I have Angela with us. I'm going to welcome her. Hello, Angela.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So you are visiting us in order to talk about the process of participating on a hackathon. You are from Hackathons International. You have this big experience in conducting this kind of events, and we will love to hear what you have to share with our audience that is looking forward to participate in Metis Hackathon.
Wonderful. That sounds good.
So tell us a bit about Hackathons International. How did you get into this world?
So basically, I participated in a lot of hackathons. I think it was like I was trying to find a full-time job, and I was just like thinking to myself, are there ways that I can take control of my future and do something that's more meaningful and can make a difference in people's lives? So I had some ideas around how to help not-for-profits or mostly charity organizations to help with their families and support and everything. So I went to my first hackathon, and it was an amazing experience. I had never learned anything about entrepreneurship or technology, and that was nothing to do with my background. I was more in the creative kind of arts kind of industries. And so when I went to one, I was like, wow, there are so many people here who can utilize emerging technologies or just digitizing ways to really enhance people's lives. So I went to a lot of hackathons. I think I went to around 30 over 3 years. So that to me was my second university degree. And from that, I guess I just gained a really strong network of a lot of people who went to hackathons. So we basically started out as a Facebook group. I think I just put all my friends in a Facebook group and said, hey, let's tell each other more about the hackathons that are happening. And so we called that Hackathons Australia. And so we've been running that since 2014. But it wasn't until last year during COVID where a lot of people were looking into the talent pool in Australia. So that's how we pivoted to Hackathons International. So now what we do is that we educate and create tomorrow's change makers, and we're just helping people with social equality and social justice topics to ensure that everyone is heard. So that's what we currently do.
Well, that's great. And what I have heard from Elena is that you also have some useful tips for people that are coming into a hackathon for the first time, about what to look for, how to organize among themselves, and that sort of ideas. So what can you tell our audience about that? We are excited.
So the workshop that I'm just conducting right now, so I can share my screen and we can kind of go through something. And I think the key thing here is that, like, a lot of people, when they go to a hackathon, especially the first time they go to a hackathon, it's kind of like a lot of people don't really know what to do. And it's okay, because you've kind of thrown yourself into a situation where it's kind of like, oh, what do I have to do? What's the outcome? Like, I don't know much about Metis or, like, just different, technologies, but it's okay. I think operationally, you can really systemize yourself within a team and the way that you communicate with others. And, sometimes you say, you have to be like aware about like what your strengths and your skills are, those around you, and also getting the job done. So just based on that framework, I can share.
Yes, I guess now you
got,
can share. Try.
yep.
Yes, perfect.
So you should be able to see my screen on the secret
Yes,
sauce
the
of
secret
winning a
sauce. Wow.
So hopefully this will be really helpful for everyone. And this gives you a basic framework on how we can help you. So before we begin, this is a toolkit that I developed. So from all the hackathons that I had kind of saw around and participated, this is more from like, I guess like a team management perspective. So it's like, how do you manage a team? How do put an ideation process together? What do business models look like? The Hackers Lean Canvas, and Lean Canvas is basically a very short strategy, and it's based on one page. And then how do you pitch and present to a judging panel? So if you just hop on this site or just scan the QR code, it's all accessible. So normally what we do is that we kind of like push this forward once a day, and you get like different templates, or you understand the ways that we can help you in this process. So I just wanted to start by saying that the best way to predict the future is for you to create it. I think the difference between a hackathon and conferences is that during a conference, you're listening and you're educating yourself, and you're listening to a lot of inspiration and amazing people who have done a lot, and they've shared their content and their expertise. The great thing about hackathons is that you get to apply this knowledge in a real work environment. You've got a couple of months to put together a solution that you'll present to us as judges. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so creating what your future looks like is as important as educating and upskilling yourself. So in this session, I'll just go through briefly what is a hackathon, how to approach hackathons, and also the secret sauce to managing a winning team. So as I told you, like at my first hackathon, it was a bit crazy. I didn't really know what was going on. So for those who don't know what's going on and you're just like, oh, what have I gotten myself into? It's okay. I think the key thing here is that you have to be passionate and want to make a difference and create something that's useful for everyone. And so like at my first hackathon, I had two other people on my team. I had a 11-year-old who was still learning to code, very bright and young, and someone who had a really bright future. So we kind of were like, okay, like what could we do together? The second person here is Rachel, and she just finished her degree in design, and her dad was a software developer as well. So together we tried to solve the problem of how do we best help charity organizations in their efforts for fundraising and support. So we did that in a way that was through market research, and looking into funds that could be done and really helpful. I think like the great thing about hackathons is that sometimes you kind of go to one and you don't know anyone else, and it's okay because I didn't know anyone else on my team. So this is also a good opportunity for you to network with people that you don't normally work with. Like I'd never met, people who knew how to code or even knew what design and creating really quick prototypes were. So for me, I was coming outside of my own bubble, and I really encourage everyone here to also do the same. So ultimately, what is a hackathon? Basically, we say that it's a short pressurized process or competition where ideas are designed, developed, deployed, and demonstrated. So I think like being in this environment where you can really get outside of your comfort zone, get outside of your bubble, and do something that you don't do from a 9-to-5 job, and really pursue that creativity. That is something what we really want to see, especially at this hackathon, where we're applying different technologies to some problems that we see a lot. But how do we progress society and progress the way that we do things? So what actually happens at a hackathon? So firstly, there's the team formation side of things. So everyone gets into teams, and this is what I'll be speaking to more during the workshop. Second thing, and something that's really important, is empathy mapping. So for example, like empathy is not just like looking at a situation or scenario. It could be like, for example, when I'm driving, someone just cuts into my lane and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed. They've just cut through me. But you don't really know why that person has been speeding and cutting through your lane. It might be that they are, they really need to go to hospital to see one of their family members because they're in hospital, or it might be that they're late to a job interview. So just showing that and understanding that empathy more from a deeper level is really important, and probably a good life skill for everyone to get to have as well. The third one here is creative thinking, and this is something that a lot of the time with creativity is not just thinking that the sky's the limit, but how can you connect the dots between different industries and segments. You might be working in the in the utility industry and looking at the ways that you do things, and that could be applied in the IT industry or even in food and beverage. So just understanding what your core knowledge and expertise is, and seeing how that you can reapply this in different ways, especially for this hackathon. And the last thing here is hacking solutions. And the way that we define hacking is the active implementation of ideas. So putting together something that's quick and easy that you can present to us, and we can see what that looks like. So when it comes to putting together a team, what we like to really pursue, especially in the startup environment where there's like Ubers and Airbnbs, how they really started was that there was a group of co-founders, and how they delegated and segmented themselves was that this methodology of the minimum viable team. So the minimum viable team consists of the hipster, the hacker, and the hustler. And so these three competencies are diverse in a hard skills way, but you also have to be conscious of everyone's skills and strengths as well. It's just as an FYI. So the hipster is the person who has the creative elements. They love to understand the customer journey and the experience, and they really like to design an experience that is useful to the customer. The hacker is traditionally the one who love to problem solve. So once we really understand those customer benefits and outcomes and pain points, how do we design and create a solution that could be can easily give to the customer to see whether something will work or not. And the hustler here is the person who understands the business model, understanding who the different stakeholders are and the ecosystems and how to best present that back. So this is something that you might want to consider, especially as you are putting together your teams right at the start of this hackathon. So before you approach going to a hackathon, one thing I love to say to people is this concept of learning. So failing to learn whilst having fun learning. And I think learning is such a great concept in a way where like hackathons are hard and intense, but they're also a lot of fun as well. So if you approach it in a way where it's like you're having fun, you're learning at the same time, and there's nothing to lose, and always taking that time to be reflective of like where you've come, what you've created, and how you can apply that in future projects. I think that is the best skill that you have. I know a lot of people who just go to 1 or 2 hackathons and they get exhausted and they're like, oh, like I didn't really gain much from it. But I think the way that, I went to so many hackathons where I was like, okay, like how do I take the skills that I've learned, the people that I've met, and everything that I've done and apply it into a new project and apply it to my everyday life. And so having that mindset is such a great thing to have, especially for you to develop yourself, not just professionally, but also personally as well. So I've kind of outlined some acronyms here. So focusing on the why, understanding your purpose and why you personally have come to this hackathon, whether that be for networking, whether it be to get into the blockchain kind of ecosystem, understanding the different Ethereums and the DAOs and that kind of thing. Understanding, loving what you do. So are there any like interests or passion points that you have? Understand what everything means, and I explained to that earlier. Asking questions, I think in this hackathon environment, it's such a good excuse for you to talk to customers, ask real deep questions there, and also having that capability to respond with agility. So you have a lot of time here at this hackathon actually to see how you can put things together in a really quick and vigorous way, and also to network vigorously. I know when I go to hackathons, I always connect with my speakers, with the mentors, with the judges on LinkedIn, and that's really helped me create my network, especially as I kind of have progressed throughout my career. So just have a think about how you can approach this hackathon with this learning mindset. So really, I always say to people like the basics of going to hackathon is kind of going back to the judging criteria. And a lot of the time it's around desirability, feasibility, and viability. So desirability, this is understanding the customer. So a lot of like the hipster kind of environment, this is like understanding the desirability part of it. The feasibility, so understanding the skills of the team, who is on the team. And I think this is really important, especially this being an online hackathon. And I'm sure everyone has had a lot of experience working online, but just getting to know people personally and not just getting the job done is super important here. So what are their skills? What are skills that everyone needs to improve on? Can this actually be done by everyone on the team if you were to move forward with this? And also the viability side. So what is the business case behind it? What is the business model? What are ways that you can enhance the ecosystem and make sure that this fits in, especially knowing your value proposition? So this is just like a very basic framework, but generally to a lot of hackathons of what the goals are, and this is based on design thinking practices as well. So this is the hacker mindset template. So this is back to the toolkit that I presented earlier. This is like a simple one pager where you have the capability to understand the story, the background, why everyone is at the hackathon, that you want to pursue as a group, and then creating some sort of like program or framework based on the hackathon timeline. So understanding where your timeline is and then working backwards from there. And then the last thing is like to have some sort of growth mechanism to see how you can further develop your processes, and the next steps beyond the hackathon as well. So I'll go through each of the three kind of boxes and components here. So the first one is SPOT. So SPOT stands for the first part of around understanding your own story. So whenever I come together with a group of people that I've never worked with before, especially in a hackathon, it's really imperative to understand how everyone, like why everyone has chosen to participate in the hackathon, because understanding the why would really give everyone a really great background and experience of how we can be consciously aware of other people, especially people in our group, and how we can channel all of this towards a common purpose and a common goal. So, for example, like in my experience talking to my grandma, I found out that she was really concerned about COVID, and that she was really fragile and she didn't really know what to really do in this, in the circumstance. So not knowing how to get household groceries and just having some sort of lifehold support. So now I really want to help people who are over 65 years old, who have the same and are experiencing the same situations, so that they can live their livelihoods to their best extent. So this could be a really basic framework of what you can get everyone to do right at the start. The next one here is like the P's, and the P's around like your purpose, your passion, participation, and your personal development. So I think here, these are kind of like some further questions that you can ask everyone, like why are you here, whether that be to upskill yourself, networking, winning. There's a million metas out for grabs, so that's cool. Is it to put a startup together? Is it to gain work experience? I think those are things that you might want to consider, and I think a lot of people are in different stages in their kind of ways of doing things, so just be consciously aware of that. Passion, understanding what you want to work on. And I think the key thing here is that we need to listen to others and see how we can really also put that together as a team. And then participation, since this is like a couple of months, for example, like I work full time, 9 to 5, I'm only free from 5 p.m. onwards in the evening, or I may have children and I am free from, 8 p.m. after my kids are asleep or maybe like until like super early in the morning. So just understanding your availability and being clear at the start is so important, so that you can help develop those communication skills, so that, if people don't reply straight away, it's okay. They might be occupied with other things. And then one key thing here is personal development. So I remember when I first started going to hackathons, as I said, I didn't study IT, technology, and that kind of thing. So for me, a key thing was understanding what does data look like? What are the foundations? What does it mean to integrate libraries and APIs? And how do we use data in a way that could help? What does machine learning look like? What are those quick things that we can put together? Or in this case, what is blockchain? What are different currencies, or what are the different algorithms there? So I think just understanding where people's at, because everyone who goes to hackathons, we are constant learners. So knowing that and being aware of that is super important, especially if you're in a team environment. Now, the next thing is the opportunity statement. So I think after you've kind of gotten to know everyone, it's always good to have a go at like, what is the real opportunity that you're trying to tackle? So when I studied a couple of subjects in journalism, they always taught us at the start to put in 2 sentences, the who, what, where, when, how, and why. And so if you put all those simple elements that we learned at school in 140 characters or less, very much like Twitter. It's a way to capture the attention of your target audience. So it could be that like an opportunity is that we want to use, you know, to understand how we can, I know, better enhance trust, especially for those who are senior citizens. That could be something as an example that you may want to pursue. So just making sure that this is a vision, something that is long term, something that could be achieved by the team, and also ensuring and considering everyone's interests in this is something that every team should do. So I think one of the key things here is that if everyone in the team writes an opportunity statement and then putting the opportunity statements to provide an overall opportunity statement is something that will keep you laser focused, especially as you go through the hackathon, because your opportunity statement or your vision will not move, but anything, how you get to it and what you do may change over time. And this is really prime, especially if you are looking at running a startup or putting together a project. And the last thing here in the spot is just testing your assumptions. So I remember when I did a lot of hackathons, when we kind of put our opportunity statement together, we knew exactly what we wanted to do, whether that be to educate people, to attract talent, or to help people, you know, have a safe environment at home. There's always room to see who is doing what right now and how do you provide additional value to, or is there a gap in the market that you can address? And so I always get everyone on Google for 15 minutes and we just Google as much as we can so that we can see and do a lot of research. And so just doing research, especially at the start, is cool because you can really learn from other people. You can learn from experience as well. And you can also see how you can leverage other people's learnings and put it into what you do. So one thing that I do is like we list assumptions and then we find data that could help back it. So the assumption here, for example, like the majority of the elderly get coronavirus. Like this is when we first started, you know, with COVID, and you know, early findings from China, which pertain to the first 17 people to die in the outbreak, revealed that the median age was 75. And a study in the New England Journal of Medicine that found that the median age of the first 425 people infected was 59. So you can kind of see that this was validated. Um, I don't know if you all remember, but like there was a very big shortage of toilet paper and food around the world as COVID kind of started. But what was interesting when I was doing a hackathon was that we had an assumption that there was not enough food for Australians. But what we realized, according to the data and through our search, was that according to the National Farmers Federation, imported food only accounted for 15% of daily supply. About 2/3 of Australia's produce is exported, meaning we make plenty more than we actually consume. And for farmers, it's pretty much business as usual. So here you can see that there's probably a supply chain issue. So it wasn't so much like, did we have enough food in Australia? But hey, how can we get food to people in a quick manner, in a way that's also fresh as well? So that was something that we were like, oh, okay, how do we pivot and how do we act with agility when it comes to problem solving? So once we kind of gathered all that data, we got to know, you know, our teams very well. It's always good to just think practically about the hackathon. So this is the build stage of like, what is the goal that we want to achieve during the hackathon itself? We can't solve the world problems in a simple hackathon in a couple of months. But what is the small thing and the step that we can tackle to get there? Whether that be to build a feature, to test a use case, to understand the business model. There's a lot of things that you can do, and there's a lot of things that you can't do as well. So just understanding what's realistic for your team is super important. Note down your pitch date and time. Also, understand your communication platform. I know a lot of people are on Telegram, for example. So just understanding how you communicate as a team is important, and the different levels, whether that be like emergency and critical, it's like, something's down. How do we help each other, to just day-to-day messaging. Know your judging criteria and how you'll be assessed, because that's ultimately judges will be looking for. And I think the last thing here is checking in. So with teams at hackathons, we always have like a check-in process, whether that be like once a week or once every couple of days or once every 3 hours. It's always good to just have a quick stand up or check in, just just say, discuss what you've achieved since the last check in. Is there a destination, or are there things that we need to land on by the next milestone, and what do you need to start, stop, and restart? So this is a very basic framework on how you can conduct these check-ins, especially as you come together, because everyone has different roles in the hackathon, and you need to make sure that everyone's working very collaboratively together. So this is what I sometimes do for a weekend hackathon. Obviously, you can mold this to however your time frame looks like, but based on the hustler, the hipster, and the hacker. So normally everyone needs to get to know each other, complete the spot and the first aspect of this hacker mindset toolkit. And then we've kind of divided things depending on the skills and strengths of the hustler, hipster, and hacker. So generally, the hustler conceptualizes the idea, they listen to customers, get the feedback, understand the business models, create the video or the pitch. The hipster does additional customer research, but also understands the design aspects. So what's a wireframe, what is the experience of the user, testing it out, looking into the user face. And the hacker is a person who understands like the technology behind it. They probably need to upskill themselves, look into the front end builds and connecting the APIs, look into the features and aligning them, and then working on the prototype. So it's really good for everyone to like aim at the minimum awesome product, especially during the hackathon, and to celebrate your wins along the way. And then the last thing here is to understand the next steps for beyond the hackathon. So the growth stage, which is understanding, who's the customer that you're targeting, the content that you want to, and the messaging that you want to demonstrate, which will talk to the values that you help the customer, the channels, whether that be social media, through groups, or through B2B or distribution or whatever else it is, and the call to action. So how do you close the sale? And then optimizing this. So when it comes to developing your projects, you don't just kind of leave it there. There's always continuous improvement, and there's different ways and different horizons of how you can pursue this. So horizon 1 is more around your core business. So how do you continuously improve on the product and the service or solution that you've done? Horizon 2 is like, how do you use what you have and put it into different markets? And horizon 3 is more the disruptive type. So for example, Disney could be a good example, where they always have different different characters that they put movies up, and they kind of do remakes and modernization of that, which is their core business. Their growth markets could be like, they can grow to more like the adults, for example, with Disneyland and everything. And then the disruptive model, where there's like Disney Plus, for example, where instead of paying $20 to go see a movie, you pay like $10 a month, and you get access to all their movies and TV series and that kind of thing. So that's like different ventures and ways of doing things. So in summary, just remember that hackathons are for everyone to attend. This is a great opportunity for everyone to learn and to learn. So be ready to have fun. Even if you have small fails, just make sure that you learn from these experiences and you act with agility. So don't forget to spot, build, and go. So, oops, how do I go back? Oops, I'm going to go back. So just to reiterate, if this is the first module of team management for the toolkit, so it's all accessible for you. So if you just go on hackathonsinternational.com/toolkit, you'll get all the briefings on the templates and everything. So if you don't forget to ride the wave, catch the wave, and make waves. We really want to see all of you we really want to see everyone flourish in this. And if you do want to contact me, these are my contact details and also our website as well. So that's it for my workshop. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm impressed and excited. I'm sure if anyone here was attending just for curiosity, now they want to be part of the hackathon. There's a lot of valuable information. This remains recorded, so it will be available for everybody to check again. And there's great material in your webpage. So I'm sure with all these tools you are providing us, our participants will have a blast in these 2 months. We are out of time for answering the questions, but we are receiving all of them. And we will be posting in our frequently asked questions files all the answers to these questions. So thank you very much, Angela. It was a pleasure having you with us, and we are very proud to have you as part of the supporting team in our Metis Hackathon.
Thanks for having me. Good luck, everyone.
Bye.